right, it is Thursday, June 10th, 2021. I'm on my way to meet up with my guys to do our morning ritual of pumping iron and putting our bodies in the best possible shape, putting our minds in the best possible shape, basically setting the day up for a win. Because that's what happens when you are in control of your mind and your body. It's called discipline. We had a situation come up. We had a crazy situation come up. A client was getting ready to close on their house that we sold for them. And they're buying another house, which in this market is a very difficult situation in itself, because you have to make so many offers on properties, negotiate the deal, so when you land one, you find yourself in a very good situation, especially if it's the house that you wanted. Well, we were due to close on their home, which was a contingency on them buying a new one. The buyer thought, you know, completely harmless situation. The buyer who was buying my client's house thought he had signed everything he needed to sign and notified his agent. He was going out of the country. And what we didn't know is he would not have access to internet, email, anything. So imagine, to our surprise, when it comes up that there's still documentation that he needs to sign, and days go by. We've already passed our close date. The agent can't get a hold of our client at all. There's a lot riding on it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars waiting in the wing, and all we need is a signature, an electronic signature. And the agent is justifiably nervous, rattled, justifiably. Seemed like a good time for everybody to have a good old-fashioned freak out. Have you ever been in situations where it didn't go the way that you planned, or it wasn't going the way that you planned, and it created so much stress that you couldn't sleep, you couldn't move fast, you couldn't move forward, you couldn't move backwards, it felt like you were just stuck still. Nothing mattered, because there's a problem. And when there's a problem, everything else is placed on hold. Everything else can wait, because there's a problem. We don't know the outcome. We haven't seen it yet, but we feel like something is wrong. Have you noticed that fear, anxiety, worry, it literally strips the life out of you? And let me explain something about real estate. You better learn how to bounce back real fast, because things are going to happen. Let me tell you something about being an entrepreneur. You better learn how to bounce back real fast, because things are going to happen. You ain't got hours. You definitely ain't got days to be sulking in something that happened. But it literally, it robs your dreams, your fear. It robs everything. Fear robs you of everything. Worry robs you of everything. Anxiety robs you of everything. And one thing, see, I'm not the best realtor. I'll tell you that hands down. I probably got the most faith. I believe I got the most faith of any realtor. And last I checked, all I ever needed was faith. I don't need to be great at anything if I have faith, because that means I can do all things. And besides, I would rather claim the faith title than claim the best realtor of the year title. Because one will give me eternal liberty. The other one is just a plaque on the wall. But when I work with my clients, I work with them from a faith position. It will work out. Obviously, I have to know what I'm doing. Nobody's going to trust me to deal with millions of dollars worth of transactions, and I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, I have to know what I'm doing. But I also know that God is working with me. And so the agent is clearly rattled. Maybe some members of my team are a little rattled. Me, it'll work out. Even if we cancel this deal, have to move into another deal, cancel that contract, move into, it will work out. The only time it won't work out is if you quit. And we've had clients quit. Clients say, this is too much. Their threshold has been breached. Because the level of fear and worry and anxiety that exists where there's no faith, it can be like fire. It becomes unbearable. It becomes too much to withstand. Title company reaches out to us yesterday after some conversations and some finagling, and a few days later, and still no sign of this buyer who is out of the country. It worked. We closed. Over $100K was shifted into their account. We finished it. People worry and fear and have anxiety about things. And most of the time, the outcome is almost never what you thought it would be. The outcome is almost never what you thought it would be. And people, and I used to be one of them, would stay in fear and worry for so long. You know where I've seen key examples of fear and worry? Key examples, and most people will never experience this, is inside of a jail. A jail, not a prison. A holding tank, where they take you to process you. Meaning, what are we going to do with this individual? They've committed a crime. A crime has been committed. They have been accused of it. We need to figure out what we're going to do with them. And then you stick all these people who have committed or been accused of a crime inside of a cell. And then half of the room becomes lawyers. The other half of the room becomes clients. And they're asking the lawyers, what do you think will happen with me? Now, mind you, they're not real lawyers. They're in jail just like you. But for some reason, you're hoping that they'll be able to tell you something that will help put your heart at ease. I'll never forget when I got a DUI. And I wasn't always good. I wasn't always walking with God. But I remember I got that DUI. And I had to go do 24 hours in Joe Arpaio's tents. And it was the hardest 24 hours of my life. Now, mind you, I had did a decade, if not more, locked away in a prison. because I sat there and I listened to so many people complain, worry, have fear, have anxiety about what they thought was going to happen, about what they thought would be the outcome. And I'll tell you this, they do it because they want somebody to justify either their fear or their faith. Primary reason. And just like the situation with our client, the outcome is almost never, ever what we thought it would be. So I end this by saying, if the fear and the anxiety aren't justified, but yet they rob you of so much of your peace, and 9 times out of 10, the outcome that you're thinking is going to happen, which is creating all the anxiety and fear in the first place, is never going to be the outcome that actually happens, then why give into it? And I'll answer that. Because you're either trying to justify your fear or your faith. Because chances are the outcome is almost never as bad as you're thinking it's going to be. Overcome that fear. Simply move into your faith.